rips him open to do like another visually horrifying thing to kind of drive home that Homelander has been a threat throughout all 4 seasons. And then we get to season 5 and he's still a threat. He's still a threat, guys, right? He's still a threat. Yeah. Kimiko's talking a lot this season. She's very annoying when she talks.
Just ruining it. Look at my lips. Ruining it.
I was gonna get like a fun beverage, but I realized it's a Wednesday night and I shouldn't be drinking. So I just finished The Boys, episode 8 of season 5, the final episode that we will ever have of this show. And without spoilers right away, nah, dude, no. But oh man, dude, this season, for anybody who doesn't know, the plot of this season is that Homelander wants to be Jesus. He wants to be the God of America, but God. He wants to replace God. And this is majority of what you'll be watching. This is most of the season. It's a lot of talking. It's a lot of people in rooms being like, hey, how do we make Homelander God? Hey, I don't know. Hey, we're gonna do it anyway. And if you're not watching that, you're watching the boys bicker with each other and being like, we gotta kill the Supes, but maybe we shouldn't, but we gotta, but what about these two? And what about those? But then they're like, but we gotta do it. That's this season. That's this whole season. I am going to just talk about it because I don't know, I don't really understand what I watched. I'm gonna go character by character and talk about their outcome because I think that's the easiest and most efficient way that I can talk about this entire season, and more importantly and more specifically, the finale, without completely losing my mind and going on an all-out rampage. But before I do that, I do want to say that the show still looks pretty good. It looks like the show. It looks like The Boys. The acting is still very much on par from what we've come to expect. I think everybody in the cast is a wonderful actor, and they deserve their grace, especially Anthony Starr as Homelander. He's still good. Do I like how they wrote him this season? Karl Urban is still very good. I had to pronunciate Karl. I have a hard time saying that name for some reason. I think it's a speech impediment that I never got checked out when I was a kid. If you have not watched the season, I'm about to get into very heavy spoilers. But before I do that, if you so happen to click on this video and liked my face and wanted to continue watching, but you can't now, go watch the episode, come back. This show should have ended at season 3 probably. I don't think it should have kept going. Again, I excused a lot of what they did and how long they wanted to go for. I'm happy they ended it at 5 seasons. I stand by it. Should have ended at 3. This is just, it's officially gotten to be too much. Go watch it for yourself, form your own opinion, and then we'll talk about it. Come back, comment, and we'll discuss. I didn't like it though, if that wasn't obvious. I just finished watching Game of Thrones for the first time, and to follow up Game of Thrones with a finale of a show that I've been watching since season 1, it is very sad to say that this has just joined GOT and Stranger Things, unfortunately. So let's start this little chat by talking about our boy Hughie. Pretty nothing. This show, unfortunately, has run out of things to do with him, and I'm going to also group Starlight into this, Annie, with Hughie, because they are one character now, and that character is boring and lame. Annie gets an episode this season where she goes to see her father, somebody we haven't met until this season, and that was the most interesting thing that she had gotten to do. And I really enjoyed that episode. I don't know if you can hear that, but the dryer's going off. It's a Samsung, so it does like a really long song. The problem is I'm pretty much completely checked out of Annie's story at this point. I say that I liked season 4 more than others, but I'm realizing as I'm talking that I think I'm a little bit more sour on it than I remembered. Because last season really made the boys themselves feel one-dimensional. And the fact that they haven't killed a Supe in so long, the Supes just keep killing each other. what are the boys at this point? They are just argument machines. And for a long time there, they really played with the relationship between Hughie and Annie, and I'm glad that they kind of dropped that and they just let them be together this season. But they didn't come up with more drama to replace it. They didn't come up with anything to give them that would be different. Hughie is still upset about the fact that Annie just didn't really care that Hughie got the Mark Grayson treatment.
My name is Anissa, and I'm an agent of the Viltrum Empire.
Hell no, man. What the fuck, man?
Which, you know what, understandable. That's very understandable. I'm glad you brought that up. But then that doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter because Annie just shows up later at the end of that episode and hugs him, and then that's where it ends. There's nothing else about that. To be fair, I watched some of these episodes high. I did watch some of these episodes under the influence. Maybe they talked about it again, but I'm pretty sure they didn't. No, I didn't refresh myself, okay? I had to watch this season through every week. Do you think I want to do it again? I'm never watching this show again now. What was I saying? Annie and Hughie, boring. I don't care for them anymore. Hughie was my favorite character in the first few seasons. I think the fish out of water character, you're meant to latch on to him. That's why we're introduced to him first in the entire show. It felt, he feels so bad now. They finally remember that Hughie has a personality. And this further drives home my point for the entire season, that all he has cared about since season one, I think since season one, is just Annie. He's only cared about Starlight. He barely cares about the mission. That's all he cares about. And it gets so tired after 5 seasons. But in this, the finale, the final episode, in like the last 25 minutes, which the last 25 minutes is an epilogue, and I think the epilogue is really good. I forgot to say that before, but I think that the way that everything concludes after the climax is very good. I think they did a good job with it. But Hughie started working at a tech store. He knows stuff about tech. This is his field. And they're finally like, oh shit, dude, we forgot. We forgot that he knows things other than woman. Let's have him do that. And it's just making me realize that maybe I don't like the show as much as I thought. This season is a bit slower. There were moments, don't get me wrong, there's always moments in this show where they do something I just think is so gross, right? But nothing felt like it was too far. Nothing felt like the boys were doing some crazy shit like they used to.
Go on, son. Have a bump.
I don't think any one of the Soup's deaths were all that interesting to watch. I think that they were super lame. This is a show that had an entire episode dedicated to an orgy. There was a guy who was in this season and previous seasons who had a giant dick that just snaked around people. I don't understand why you're so protective of the bad guys. Now, let's talk about Mother's Milk. Mother's Milk is done pretty well this season. I think that he's good. He's been good every single time. He's never failed. What's the actor's name? Laz Alonso? Is that his name? I'm gonna look that up. Dude, I'm fucking on it. I got it. Laz Alonso, you're awesome. You're my favorite part of this show. Mother's Milk is my favorite character officially now. Oh, I forgot to talk about the freaking endings, dude. So Hughie and Starlight get away, and Annie's pregnant, and Hughie opens his own tech store, which I actually think is a really nice ending. We're at a point where the boys don't have much to do. Like, their character arc's kind of concluded, I'm pretty sure, by like season 3, and that's why the show probably should have ended at season 3, because you can only go so far with this concept.
Editing Brandon here. I realized I didn't say anything about Marvin Milk. I forgot. So he's really good in the season. He's good in most seasons. I don't think there has been a season of The Boys where I haven't enjoyed me some Mother's Milk. He has a good ending too. He gets remarried and it's very sweet. That's pretty much all there is to say about Marvin Milk.
Frenchie and Kimiko, I'm grouping them together again because they're couples. It just makes it a little bit easier. Let's start with Frenchie. He dies. He's dead. Frenchie's a dead guy. He's a dead Frenchman. The Frenchman. He's dead. There was an episode in this show that made me realize I no longer care about any of them as characters or what's going on with them. And I can't remember the number, but it was the episode where they're in the building, they're looking for the V1. The building is actively making them hate each other and fight and nearly kill them. And in that moment, I thought to myself, I don't care if any of you die. I just think that this show forgot that they had lives before this stuff happened. This is their life now. They have no other lives outside of killing the Supes at this point in the show, and it's been that way for quite a long time, since season 1. But these are still people with traits and personalities, and all he cares about is Kimiko, Kimiko, Kimiko. Let me do everything for Kimiko. I get it, she's a baddie, but come on, dude.
So I need to see some ID.
And because of that lack of personality, because I don't really care about the character himself, I only really care about the relationship he's in, by the time he dies, it feels so unearned, and I wasn't even sure what his plan was because we weren't told the plan or given any indication of the plan. He just exposes himself to extreme radiation and immediately dies after to do next to nothing to Homelander. It was to be a distraction. From what?
I was informed that the point of that was so that Homelander would think that was their big plan and then go away because he didn't need to worry about them anymore. But that in itself, I think, is very stupid because in season 1 of the show and other seasons, Homelander has always been very thorough. He doesn't just leave without making sure everyone there is dead that is a threat to him. There is no way he would just leave without clearing the rest of the facility that they were in. So once again, as I'll say later in the video without spoiling it, Homelander's not the same, man. I don't like it.
Because that death did not work for me. I'm saying this for me personally. I don't know how anyone feels about this. I haven't talked to a single person. I just finished the episode. It ruins the motivation that Kimiko has going into the... Now, obviously, she has... That's not even a super valid argument because she has so much motivation. Again, 5 seasons of this show, she has a reason to want to kill Homelander. But this is like the driving force. And there's a moment where she's fighting Homelander and she has to do the thing that she has now, which I'm not even fully certain about how she got that ability. She suddenly became Havoc from X-Men. It was insane. She sees Frenchie in that moment, like she goes into like a time stop state, and she sees him, and I just was like, he was just here though. I just saw you, man. I thought they were gonna do something cool and crazy, like in the vision, Homelander swoops up behind him and like shoves his hand through him and like rips him open to do like another visually horrifying thing to kind of drive home that Homelander has been a threat throughout all 4 seasons. And then we get to season 5 and he's still a threat. He's still a threat, guys, right? He's still a threat? Yeah. Kimiko's talking a lot this season. She's very annoying when she talks. I just don't like it. It just doesn't work for me. She's talking too much. She's doing too many quips. She's trying to fit in too much. You used to be quiet. You can do sign language. That's what you do. That's your character. We're too late into this series. We're in the final season. I don't need you talking. We have too many people talking all the time. I should have been sussed out when Eric Kripke was like, hey, there's no like big final fight. There's no like big explosive stuff going on. What are you talking about? Why? This is the final season. We don't need a slow ending. We need big, bombastic, crazy, carnage, explosive, wild shit going on. The only survivor is Hughie, just drenched in blood. I gotta cool down. I'm too hot. I forgot what I was talking about. Kimiko. She's talking too much. I like her ending. She goes to a French cafe in France and has one of those cookies that I really like that I can't remember the name of. She's got a good ending. She does. It's good. Who else is in the fucking boys? Is it just Butcher? The entirety of Butcher's arc and his plot line through all 5 seasons of the show has been surrounded by Becca, Homelander doing what Homelander does, Ryan. And everything about Ryan is now what Butcher is about. That's all tied together, right? And Butcher he's the face of the show, right? He's kind of like the lead. He's the guy that we see every episode. We like to see him. We like when he says diabolical. Ryan isn't in this season much, which I actually think is a very big mistake. I think it's very stupid. Does Ryan end up being important in the end? Not really, but he does show up at a moment that he was needed, so I guess so. And Ryan is Homelander's bastard. He should be in this show all the time. Cameron Crevetti. He's actually doing a very good job. I think he's awesome as the character, and I really would have liked to see him more. His ending is cool. He ends up with mother's milk because I probably should have started by talking about Billy. Billy's dead. Billy dies. He gets shot by Hughie. I liked this a lot. I really liked this ending. Everything after, spoilers, Homelander's death is really good. Hughie sees Billy leave with the virus that they still have that can kill every soup, eliminate everybody with powers, and potentially eliminate everyone on Earth. And then Hughie follows Billy to the 7 Tower, and they end up in the room with all the chairs, which I really liked. I thought that was a really cool callback because that was where it kind of started for the both of them together. This was the first place that they went like on a mission together, and when Hughie planted the microphone and getting the apology from A-Train, I thought that was really cool. And then they have like an all-out fist fight after Hughie tries to like convince him, and all in all, it ends up with Hughie shooting him in the gut, and them like kind of embracing and holding hands in the end and forgiving each other, which I thought it was beautiful. I thought it was really good. I liked the way it was done. These actors are great. These are great actors. I'm not denying that in the slightest. The writers, they kind of lost their sauce a bit. They lost the sauce. I'm just yapping, man. We got to talk about the soups. Oh, I should have saved Billy for the end so I could talk about Billy and Homelander. That's too late for that. All right, let's start with Eeny, Meeny, Miny, Noir. Black Noir. Spoilers for the comics. If you don't know, the boys' comics are bad. You shouldn't read them. But in that, the original Black Noir ends up being a clone of Homelander, which I thought would be interesting if they tried to do that, but I'm happy they didn't. The new Black Noir that came in season 4 after the original Black Noir died in season 3, if I'm remembering correctly, I'm pretty sure that's true, is like an actor who has the ability to fly and such, and he gets, in the episode One Shot, he gets this little, a one shot, and I really liked it. It was him being an actor and going to an acting class and having a mentorship from the director who has been in the other seasons, who made all the Vought movies. And he's like, I got kicked out from Vought. Like they kicked me to the curb because I wouldn't do something or something or the other. So he's teaching an acting class. And at the end, he's like, dude, like our play is going to Broadway. Like we're gonna be famous. You're gonna be the star. And then and then the Deep comes in and shoots a tentacle up his asshole and kills him. That's the type of boy stuff we're talking about, you know? That's the type of stuff that should have been throughout the entire season. He ends up dead. He does end up dead because the Deep shoves a knife into his throat, which I thought was kind of satisfying. Actually, no, I didn't. I don't think Black Noir deserved any of that. I think that guy should have had a career and got to survive the outcome of all this. If I'm being fully honest, I don't like that he died. The Deep is just doing the Deep things, you know? He's too popular in this show to be killed off right away, so he makes it all the way to the finale. I do like his plot in this season. I think it's one of his best plots. He basically causes like an oil spill into the ocean and kills like a shit ton of the fish. And now every single fish in the ocean, every single sea creature is trying to kill him. So he has to avoid the ocean at all costs. And then towards the end, we get a fight between Annie and the Deep, which I thought was satisfying, I guess. I think that it should have been better. What I'm saying is, like, they had a fist fight, and then Annie like shot him into the middle of the ocean with her light blast, and then all the fish surrounded him, and he got a tentacle up the ass through the throat, which I guess was, you know, poetic justice for what he did to the director. But I don't know, it just felt so lame. The Deep is such a memed character. He's so popular. I would have preferred a death that wasn't just a tentacle going through him. This show has done such original stuff. 2 of the soup deaths that happen in the finale are just from a sharp object. I hate that. Be original. It might even be more than that. No, I'm wrong. There's another death that's also just from a sharp object. God, I have so many characters to talk about. All right, let's go. A-Train, he dies in episode 1, which I had predicted. I thought that was gonna happen. A-Train was like probably one of my favorite characters throughout the series. Like I really enjoyed every time he was on screen, and I think that's due to Jesse T. Usher. I'm reading his name right now. I don't just know that off the top of my head. A-Train does get to like call Homelander pathetic. Like he gets to mock him. So go A-Train. I'm happy for him. I'm glad they gave him, like, even though he didn't get to be in the whole season, he got a very satisfying conclusion. What the fuck is her name? Firecracker. She is one of the characters, another character who just dies by sharp object. Homelander shoves her head into a statue, which, to be honest, favorite episode of the season. It's her battling with the idea that Homelander is trying to replace Jesus Christ, because she used to be a church kid and she goes to see her old pastor and he's like, you know he's not Jesus. You know this dude is not God, right? I'm gonna die if I say that, so no, I don't actually. And then she brings a Jesus action figure and throws it out. Very not obvious way of them being like, she's choosing Homelander, and then Homelander just shoves her head into a sharp statue thingy. Can't remember exactly what it was. That's how she died. I really liked her character this season, though. I really, really liked her. I didn't think much of her last season, but this episode alone really drove home that, like, she has depth. And that's the thing that's missing from a majority of the boys themselves. They don't have depth. And they don't have skill because they don't kill any superheroes ever. They don't do it. They're awful at it. God, who's next? Fuck. Sister Sage. She's important to the season, but also I don't care for her character. I didn't the last go around. I don't this time. I just think she's kind of boring. She's the character who's supposed to be super smart. But then her storyline goes like she actually is against Homelander becoming God, which most of the people are. They think this is a very stupid thing. And because of that, she's going to help the boys. And she does. And then she gets dumb. And she goes away. So she lives. She does live. Congratulations. Okay, there's only 2 other characters I really want to talk about. But before we go to that, let's do some honorable mentions, shall we? Ashley is in this season quite a bit, and Ashley has really grown on me. I like her little telepathic head in the back. I think she has a fun thing. She's got a fun power. It's cute. She has sexual relations with the gods, I don't remember his name. He dies. He's a character I just don't care to talk about. It's this guy, whatever's on the screen. He helps make the Homelander Bible and preaches, and I am gonna talk about this fucking guy. What's his character's name? The Boys. I'm searching The Boys. The Boys. Crap. What's his name? I got it. Oh, Father. That worked. It worked. Oh, Father. Oh, Father sucks. And he sucks for one reason and one reason alone. He has so much damn screen time this season. I think if you just cut him out of the plot almost entirely, we would have so much more time to dedicate to fleshing out more of the boys and their reason for doing this anymore and having any sort of personality. I didn't even mention they were in a concentration camp at the beginning of this because it didn't matter. They were out of it almost instantaneously. The show's over. The show's over. It's done. We'll never see... Oh my god. Simon Pegg was really missed. I really liked when Simon Pegg would appear and it would put a smile on my face. He wasn't in the show much, but I did really like it. The Gen V characters are in it very briefly. That show isn't actually all that important. really. Like, there's a few things that happen in it that I guess you would need to watch, but like not really though. Like, I was caught up to speed. I understood what was happening, and when they appeared, I was like, oh, those are faces that I recognize. And then they had nothing important to do, like at all whatsoever. So, bye. We're probably never going to see those characters ever again. Okay. Predominantly throughout this entire season, my favorite character has been Soldier Boy. Jensen Ackles is doing a phenomenal job as dickhead Captain America. I love it so much. His entire story this season is about how much he despises, hates, loathes, is disgusted by his own son, Homelander. He hates him so much, but he's also proud of him. The fact that he wants to take over the world, he doesn't think that he's God, but he is proud of him. He doesn't die, thankfully. He gets put in the cryo chamber, but I don't know what's coming after this. I don't know if any of the spin-offs are taking place after the events of this show, if we'll ever see Soldier Boy again in the modern era. Not sure. I don't know if it was mentioned in the other seasons, but he had a relationship with Stormfront, and that comes to a head, the fact that Homelander did too. And the only reason that Soldier Boy ends up giving Homelander like the V1, which makes him immortal for a time, is because Stormfront would have wanted that, because Stormfront also loved Homelander. And that's also another reason why he didn't want to kill him, and why he was kind of battling with this, I'm proud of you, but also I was in love with her, and then you were in love with her, so we kind of have this bond, but also I hate you even more now because you slept with her, and because you're stupid and disgusting, and you. That's kind of what he's going through this entire season. So, all right, we're going to do it. We're going to talk about him. I don't know if I'm in the minority here. I have not talked to anybody. I have no idea. I think Homelander is by far the worst part of this season. It is truly baffling to me how much they fumbled this character. Throughout season 1 to 3, this guy was so scary. We always knew he was pathetic, right? We always knew he liked, milk of the teat, and was a baby and wasn't a fan of people. But that kind of made him threatening, right? That made him, the fact that he always wanted the approval of his superiors, the fact that he didn't really like anybody that he was saving. He didn't want to do any of it. It made him scarier because he was so unpredictable. You weren't sure what was going to happen. And that made for a really engaging villain. But I have a theory that because Homelander became kind of this icon for a certain subsect of the internet that didn't realize you're not supposed to be on Team Homelander, they overcorrected a little bit in season 4, but a lot in this season, by making him just so pathetic and unthreatening and not scary at all in the slightest, and he did nothing that scared me ever. There are some funny bits in the finale. For example, he flies an astronaut into space without anything because that's where he belongs. I thought that was really good. But there's no big battle. There's no rampage. There's no moment where Homelander gets to just wreck a bunch of people. You have been teasing that since season 1. Have we gotten close or equal or adjacent to that? Yes, we have. We've gotten there before. But you have been showing us visions and shit since the first season of him just lasering a crowd down. And you're telling me that you refused to give that to us this season at all. Most of Homelander's stuff is in the 7 Tower or in the Oval Office, and he's just talking. Anthony Starr is 50. But he's a good 50. He's an athletic guy. He looks athletic. I don't care what he says in interviews, man. He can do it. I know he can. This is no excuse. This is one of the most popular TV shows of the last decade. You have the budget. Why didn't you do it? He has a vision of Madeline Stillwell, and she tells him with her breast milk goodness that he is meant to be the next Jesus, the next God, the second coming, but he doesn't really like that. He wants to just be God. That's his entire plot this season. That is all he talks about. That's all he does. That's all he cares about. His goal is to get the V1 because V1 which was version 1 of Temp V, or just V, makes you immortal. That kind of came out of nowhere. Forgot to talk about that. Doesn't really last that long. Doesn't really do anything with it. Doesn't change anything that he does. He does not do nothing. He just cries. He just cries, and he gets called a baby by everyone, by his son, by A-Train, by Soldier Boy, by Billy. Everyone just calls him a big baby except for the Deep, pretty much. And he cries about it. He gets sad. He's like, I don't have the approval of people. The people that you actively dislike and do not want to save and are trying to kill. But man, he is so lame this season, and that's about all I got. And Billy gets to kill him. He does Homelander justice, which has been his goal throughout the entire series. Clearly, Billy was going to be the one who got to do it. It wasn't going to be, I already forgot his freaking name, dude, Ryan. It wasn't going to be Ryan ever. It was always going to be Billy, which I think is cool. Here's the thing, though. It's kind of lame. There's a moment where Billy gets to beat the absolute shit out of him. He is powerless. His powers are gone. Kimiko took him away with her Havoc blast. He's just there. Homelander's in front of him, and he beats the shit out of him. And the camera doesn't show it. You can have some subtlety. You don't always have to show the gore. But this is the fight. This is it. This is the one. This is the one you've been building to since season 1, and you're telling me they just have a little bit of a punch up in the Oval Office, and then you're gonna cut away? You're gonna cut away when Billy gets to beat the ever-loving shit out of him? I thought we were gonna cut back, and his face was just gonna be demolished, and then Billy wouldn't be able to stop, and he'd have to keep going, and then his head would just cave in and become a puddle of just chunks and blood. I thought that's what we were gonna get, and in the moment I was like, oh my god, this is so cool and visceral and dark and gory. Like, this is the best thing they've done all season. Didn't happen. Didn't happen. Homelander gets up, he begs, he says, I'll suck your dick, he says, I'll eat your shit, and then Billy jabs a crowbar into his head and pulls up, ripping the top of his head off. Now, I do realize that is pretty gross. Now that I'm saying it out loud, it's pretty gruesome and dark. This is The Boys. We're all desensitized at this point. We're all used to what they do. And this, in my opinion, feels a little bit tame. Now, I do understand the thought process being like, he doesn't need a big, crazy death. Like, it may be more satisfying if there's an intimate moment where Billy just gets to do what he's always wanted to do since the beginning. And I think that this death actually would have been a lot more satisfying and worked a lot more. Like, I actually do like the idea of it. Like I said, I think it would have worked if Homelander wasn't pathetic throughout the entire season, and if he actually did something that was like giant and crazy. I'm not talking like genocide level, but I'm talking like just something. Then it would have been cool to be like, after all that crazy carnage, we're not going to do anything nuts to you. We're just going to, you know? I think that would have been great. But no, not what we got. Homelander's lame this season. I'm so very upset about it. I think that's all I got to say about this show. It's such a bummer that this is how it ended. Again, I'm putting it up there with Stranger Things and Game of Thrones for endings-wise. I don't think it's as egregiously bad. I think the problem with this show was that it just went too long. I think season 4 was really what did them in. I think that really cost them a lot of faith, and I think that scared them a bit, and I think the show got a little too big and the memes got a little too popular, and they felt a need to hold on to characters for a little too long and play into the joke a little bit too much, and it took away from what the show was initially and what it could have been. Very, very disappointing, if I'm being honest, but that's all I got. So thanks for watching, guys. See you later.